friends, Nick here. All right, let's talk about jazz. So a lot of people, let's talk about kicking the stool. Now, a lot of people want to get into jazz. They don't know where to start, or maybe they've started a little bit, but they don't know where to go next. I hear that a lot, right? So I'm going to tell you a little bit about how to get into jazz. If you do, you know, most people already know, let's say, Miles Davis, Kind of Blue, or John Coltrane, something like Love Supreme, and then their knowledge sort of stops, right? So let's talk about something else. My best suggestion for getting into jazz, whether you already know a lot or a little, is soul jazz, right? Soul jazz was a type of jazz that started in the 60s, kind of went to the early 70s, and as the name implies, right, it mixed soul music and jazz music. And so it's very easy, very accessible to get into, because if you already like soul music, which most people do, getting into soul jazz is easy. Here's a few soul jazz picks. My favorite is probably Brother Jack McDuff. He's got a lot of great albums. Hot Barbecue is one we have right now. Such a good album. Jimmy McGriff, another quality option. And lastly, another good option would be Jimmy Smith. He plays a lot of organ, but mixes jazz in there too. Jimmy McGriff has a big discography though, so you'll probably find some you like and some maybe you don't like. That's okay. Next option, vocal jazz, right? So somebody like Ella Fitzgerald is a really good option for getting into jazz, because when you have vocals plus, you know, piano and drums and everything else, you have something to sort of grab onto, and it's not just so esoteric, right? Because there's vocals involved. Ella is always my #1 choice, but there's a lot of great vocal jazz out there too. Last option for how to get into jazz is honestly just pick a classic jazz album and see if you like it, right? I mean, there are so many classic jazz albums out there. If you need help finding one, talk to us, talk to your friendly Spinster Records employee. We can help you find some. Here's two that I have picked out right now. The first is Dexter Gordon Go. Again, 1962, Blue Note Records, classic album. Another option, Sonny Rollins, The Bridge. Quick story about this album. So Sonny Rollins had a few albums out, didn't really like where his jazz was going, so he took 4 years off, started playing music under the Williamsburg Bridge. This is before hipsters infested Williamsburg. And he played down there for 4 years because nobody bothered him, because it was a quiet place. He could play as loud as he wanted, try out new jazz styles, and he came up with something he liked. And the result of all that practice was The Bridge, and it's a classic jazz album. So anyway, those are just a few options about how to get into jazz, how to get deeper into jazz. Obviously, once again, if you have any questions about jazz, come talk to us. That's what we're here for. And well, that's it for me. See you later.